Let me close the door a bit more. I don't think I'll be able to drown it out though.
Yeah, sure. By the way, we started streaming, so you do that. Hello, everyone. Can you hear us? Right now we're just doing sound testing. We started like 4 or 5 minutes early, I think. It should be
I'm
streaming.
assuming you can still hear it.
Yeah, tiny bit, to be honest.
Fuck's sake.
Loser, hey. Can you hear us sound clear? Clear and sound? What's the term again? I forgot. Can you hear?
Sound. I'm not sure that's how it works.
I don't know. So we're just testing the sound downs right now. Oh, yay. Archie is not dead, surprisingly. So we are testing the sound balance, as I said, for like the third or fourth time around because I have nothing else to say. Because I didn't prepare at all for this. No, I'm kidding. I wrote plenty notes. I'm a bit quiet. Wait, who's quiet? Is everyone quiet? Everyone speak up. Is Zalgus still... Okay, Erbie, speak up, because I guess Zalgus is getting this door or something.
Oh my god, it's so hard to...
What is there to say? Let's just start analyzing the unit.
It's so hard to do a sound balance listening to both Discord and the video.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so, oh, so my volume is down now. Weird. Alright, for once, I'm the one who's being quiet. Anyways, I'm gonna change my mic settings a tiny bit. Is that better? That might be loud. How about now? Okay, so sound is good, I'm assuming. Thank you for joining our sound test. That's the end of the stream. No.
Let's go. Back up your bags. Let's go.
All of us are quieter than the song. Okay, that's not a good issue.
Oh yeah. The song is loud. I can confirm that one.
I can turn down the Housamo theme so it's like 10 decibels quieter. How's it now?
I have to actually unmute it.
Yeah, don't worry. We're starting early anyway, so it's technically, we're not wasting their time. They decided to come here early and waste their times. But
Still 2 minutes.
Yeah, everyone sounds equal now. Everyone sounds equal, not drowned out by the music, and also sufficiently audible and to be understood. Can we get some feedback from the chat? Daddy, Loser, Jeremiah, Falcon, anyone who's there? Let's see.
Okay, I moved my mic a bit, so
Should be alright.
it's not a bit different, but
Okay.
should be fine.
Alright, sounds good, I'm assuming. And I'm gonna fucking cry later, because obviously it's gonna sound terrible later when I check it out later, as it always does.
Just don't check the video for it.
Okay, sure. Anyways, so before we start, I'm gonna assign some roles of who's talking about which.
Sure.
So last time I actually did end up talking about 2 units in each, or at least starting off with 2 units, and both of you started off with 1. However, we have 5 units now, so this time I'll be assigning you guys to talk about 2, and I'll be talking about 1 of them. So each of you can talk about 1 5-star and 1 4-star. You can decide amongst yourselves now which one you want to talk about.
No, I don't really mind.
I can prefer talking about Daikoku.
Because you don't have any notes about me. Alright, so that means you're starting off with Bael. By the way, the order we're going is Bael, Daikoku, Balor, Nezha, then Teda. Alright? Hello, Pablo. Hello, Kingdom. Hello, Leanne. Thank you for joining our analysis stream, which is about to begin. We're just determining the order of which we'll go right now. Do you have any preference between your 4 stars? Do you want to discuss? I'm guessing none of you want to talk about Nezha, so I'll just take Nezha.
Exactly. Please do it.
It's pronounced Nezha.
Nezha? I actually did look up the pronunciations, but it was all over the place. But I'll thank you for giving me something better check. It was like a 2-second check when I looked at Nezha. Alright, so I'll cover Nezha. Did you want to cover Balor or the other guy, Teda?
I'm on the phone with you there.
I guess I'll do Teda.
Okay.
Fine.
Sorry, Erbie.
I'll do Balor.
Then you'll do Balor. Alright, so let's see. He's called Teda, I think. Can you validate? I tried looking up his name, but
I don't know. When it originally got translated, it was romanized as Teda.
I mean,
But when they
the COD kind of does confirm it. No, it's like Teda. I don't know. It's a thing. You can translate it. I couldn't find the correct pronunciation, but
Teda.
you can call it either way you wish.
Like Tidus.
Let's not go there. Anyway, we're 1 minute over. We should start the announcements now. So, Zalgus, would you please start us off with Bael? 3 stars and his 4 star and his 5 star, of course.
5 star.
But generally, what he does first or whatever. Go ahead.
Sure. So Bael's kind of new gimmicky. Well, that's the whole banner, honestly. But Bael's kind of a new gimmicky unit who basically he's really good at against enemies who stack buffs, because for each buff that they have, he gets a 1.5x multiplier to his damage, or 2x multiplier to his damage at 5 stars. It's honestly, I think his new buff reversal debuff is pretty good. It's a really high value debuff. It makes them take 2.5x more damage and deal a quarter of their damage, which is actually pretty ridiculous. That's more effective than most other debuffs in the game. Actually, I forget how long that debuff lasts.
I think it's like 3 turns, but it's definitely you only get inflicted once.
That's pretty good. So besides just his gimmicky buff reversal, which is pretty nice, he also provides quite a lot of debuffs on hit, and all at a pretty high rate, ranging from 80% to 100%. He does. What did you say?
No, at least there's just commenting on the pronunciation. Teda. Anyway.
What was I saying? So he, beyond his kind of buff countering, he also provides a lot of debuffs on hit, and that's all at a pretty generous rate, and I think that's really quite useful. He's magic range at both rarities, so he can spread it quite easily. Oppression's nice for stopping movement, even though I think it's actually the worst out of the movement stopping ones, and he can apply curse on weakness, which is always good. He's probably best at the start of the team because other allies can also benefit from the buff reversal. So combined with weakness and buff reversal, he can make enemies take a lot more damage. That's like what?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
5 times more. And besides that, he provides some okay support in. He provides attack up and defense up at a really reliable rate, in a really nice big range. All for the cost of 1,000 HP, and so that's really nice too. His protection on phase start is okay, I guess. It's nice to have, but it doesn't really change anything.
I suppose it can be useful if the enemies proc like something like phase start buffs, or they don't have any sort of.
That sort of ability is just there to be like a band-aid for shitty turn-on positioning. To be honest.
Yeah, it's nice to counter or get into position while maybe your defensive move unit is unavailable because they're not in right position. But yeah, I think Bael's a pretty good debuffer. His personal attack isn't really that strong, unless the enemy has stacked a ton of buffs. But I think it's about 6,000 damage on an enemy with 1 buff and buff reversal on them.
Just to confirm, both of you have the chat open, so you can comment on them, right? On
I do, but I'm looking at my notes right now.
Zalgus. Naughty. All right, but yeah,
his CS is whatever. It's nice to have, but he's not built around it at all. Evasion in a square around him is great,
but it's getting a bit common now, and also it's like I don't know, like it's a Seth thing, it's a Takamaru thing, and he doesn't really have any voice ability TP himself, so it's just there.
Oops. Let's see, Leisha can be good with the 2 people who I can think of who would synergize best with Bael would be Babylon and Licho, because probably Licho's better. Honestly,
definitely Licho's better because his buff is considered.
Babylon kind of sucks.
Yeah, useful for 1 turn. No, that's it.
But yeah, Licho is he can apply weapon change blow, which is counted as a buff, so he will get everyone will benefit from the buff reversal because of that, and Bael will do a bit more damage himself. So yeah, those two would synergize well with each other.
So I was thinking that Bael is actually like really dependent on the map itself in terms of his utility, unless you bring a unit like Licho to like, specifically exploit buff reversal. But even then, it's like I would call him like for his history, like he has like these things that make the enemies take more damage, whether it's by debuffing them or by buffing themselves, and his 5 also adds some like defensive capabilities for the inverse case. So I would call him like a damage rescaler in that sense, but he's he rescales the damage for his team. He doesn't really rescale it for himself at all. If he's facing it, if he's facing an enemy team that doesn't have any buffs, then he has no damage advantage at all. He doesn't get an attack up. He can't benefit from weakness, and the only things he can benefit from are the curse, but he can't even like benefit from defense up either. And yeah, basically outside
he really needs his team.
Yeah, outside
unless you build like something like combo to get advantage of his weakness.
That's not even worth it at all. That's not worth it.
It's terrible idea.
It's not worth it.
It's gonna be like 0.6 multiplied anyways. Like who cares?
It's a bit more. He's also infernal type, so that helps a bit. But
that your combo idea just like flashbacks to like Zabania before his evolution. No, thank you. Too much effort for it to pay off.
That was how I needed to use him before.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I don't anymore. But yeah, I don't have much to comment on except that if the enemies don't have buffs, then I don't think he's going to be providing.
Yeah, he's there just to rescale his team's damage. That's if you strip any considerations of enemy buffs, then the only thing he can do is just rescale damage for his team, not even for himself. So in that way, he kind of transforms into exclusively a support unit at that point.
Yeah, he's not really for his own damage.
Something that you can consider is that a lot of enemies do have phase start buff to self abilities. So at least in the second turn, it might
the second turn. Yeah, brilliant strategies. Let's build around the second turn.
I think that's exactly why that phase start protection is there. It's to help stall out for the second turn.
Yeah,
at least that's what I thought. At least when I first saw that phase start protection, it seemed like completely useless, but it actually doesn't need to be.
How worse is his 3-star compared to his 5-star? Well, this is my question, obviously. I would say his what you're bringing Bael for is probably his buff reversal and his debuffs, and his 3-stars decent at it. His rates aren't that much worse, especially not on buff reversal, which is his strongest debuff. So I think he can. I think he's worth raising because you'll probably bring Bael on maps where you can abuse the buff reversal, and
I mean, even
he
if
does that at the same rate.
Just consider that Bael himself. It's like even for his 3, he doesn't do any damage attenuation, only damage amplification, but he's still like technically a rare double buffer in a sense. Although I guess it's not a buff. 1 attack up and 1 weakness. So having like 2 things that stack to multiply damage, that's very good at magic range. So history is still pretty good, but in terms of how compared to his 5, his 5 just adds some defensive capabilities. That's also really nice.
His 5 adds defense and curse, which is great. I mean, but with buff reversal, they're already going to be dealing a quarter damage, so you can build around that too if you're using his 3-star, because buff reversal's pretty high powered. Oh, I also didn't mention that he drains CP, which could have some applications here and there.
Yeah, I actually just noticed that just it exists. He's definitely there to, I guess, to stifle not just the buff stacking, but also charges. So that like charges are not really things you expect, and buffs aren't really things you expect in normal maps. So he's really primed for challenge quests where both buffs and charges are more common from the enemy side.
Yeah.
And with his buff reversal, it's, as if you guys didn't know, I'm sure a lot of you know by now, it does not scale and effectiveness with stack buffs. So
Yeah.
the multiplier you see there, it's on the dot. It doesn't matter how many extra buffs you give them. It's always just going to be reducing outgoing damage by 0.25 times and increasing damage received by 2.5 times. And that means he's only really useful for like making his team hit harder with this specific debuff if there's only one buff. For a specific challenge quest where there's a boss that decides to stack a whole bunch of buffs, that effectiveness to help his team get stronger is proportionally less effective. And I would
still probably want buff reversals, like, because big numbers. Multipliers.
Yeah. However, that also, interesting enough, I mentioned before that Bael would exclusively be like a support unit if there was no buffs. However, in the inverse case where there's a shitload of stacking buffs, he would be like the strongest unit to deal with those cases. Whereas, because like his even though buff reversal, the effect of that doesn't scale with more stacks, his own personal damage does with stack because he has individual advantage against every single buff. So that damage advantage of either 1.5 times for his 3-star or 2 times for his 5-star, that just exponentially grows the more buffs there are. With one notable exception, although I guess it's not really an exception, but it's still something that's worth noting. Even though he is better against more buffs, he's still kind of like completely helpless, or almost completely helpless against evasion, because even if he has like a 2 times advantage against evasion, evasion reduces damage by 100%. So one of that can just completely make all those stacks pointless in the end. You'll still be doing like minimal damage. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll be reaching triple digits, but that's only if there's like a whole bunch of buffs at that point. So yeah, he's still not really well suited for dealing with evasion, unfortunately.
He doesn't really do well against the defensive buffs because they kind of cancel each other out.
Yeah, for sure. He's more like of a partial penetrator.
The defensive buffs are actually more powerful.
Yeah, aren't they like 2.5 or something?
Yeah, 2.4, 2.3, I think it's something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But on offensive buffs, he'll do well.
So he's more, I guess, in the end, he's more useful for dealing with stacks of damage buffs rather than defense buffs. If you want someone if you can deal with defense buffs, I'm sorry, but you still have to use Eta.
There's gonna be some challenge quest where this boss just stacks a ton of debuffs and Bael's gonna one-shot him.
Unless they have guts. That's another issue as well.
Just have someone try and remove it.
I guess. Anyway.
I don't think that will happen. But we can dream of that challenge quest.
Do you think Bael is worth pulling on this banner? Not really. I think he's one of the better units on banner, but he's kind of niche. Buff reversal's nice to have. You can certainly play around it, but I don't think it's essential or anything. And his other debuffs he provides is also not really essential. It's nice to have it all together in one package for sure. But I don't think he'll become like the next Summer Kotaro or anything. So
I don't think anyone's gonna be like super. This guy was supposed to specifically nerf him. I was so excited, but also dreading it. It was like Candy, the LifeWonders employee in our server, or former employee, or I don't know, his employment status is good. But he was like talking about, hinting at, part 2 is gonna be the meta changing, and then this like Kotaro just doesn't give a shit about this in the end, anyways. Because guess what, Kotaro will just remove buff reversal in the end too in his charge. It's so dumb.
They should have made the evasion multiplier like 200x, so or I guess 200,000x, so it actually cancels out evasion.
Nah, evasion is always going to be an issue, except for Kotaro. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Just use that forehead.
Yeah, big brain. The Daichi metas will never leave us. It's still 2020, but it still haunts us to this day.
But yeah, I wouldn't like chase after Bael 5-star because if you wanted buff reversal, you can go for his 3-star too because he can do it just as well. Losing the defense up and curse might sting a bit, but it's nothing that you can't deal with. So maybe go for 3-star if you want him, but unless you're a super big fan of Bael, there's no need to pull for him 5-star.
Yeah. like certain people in our server play the Titanic theme song with a recorder. Anyway, I think we talked a decent amount of Bael, unless any of you guys have any lingering thoughts.
Nah, that is fun.
Erbie?
I think that's all right. Yeah.
All right. Then we can start off with the next unit. Oh crap! I forgot to do instructions, guys. All right,
They know who we are.
Yeah, I guess they do. Read the description to see what their names are. The one that just introduced the Bael was Zalgus, so and the other one who is talking with us, Mr. Fishman himself, is Erbie, and he will be starting off with Daikoku. That's your cue, Erbie.
That's my. I was like, is Ara going to say something else, or can I start?
You can start now, Erbie.
So basically, Daikoku's thing is that you can serve two specific roles, but they all end up in the same defensive damage attenuation strategies. Basically, his two roles, I'd say, are more like a backline defensive support and CP charger, and the other role is an offensive disruptor and damage attenuator. Basically, in order to switch roles, you can simply move him. He'll gain weapon change, and his role will in essence completely change. He's a non-infernal unit. You'll usually want to keep him in the back line with the three units in front of him, because he can provide just not as much benefits as you might think, but they're actually pretty good. It's 24 CP.
24 CP is a lot, okay?
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of CP. He also heals and grants protection at a very high rate to the 3 units in front of him. If he is still in none range. If you move him, he changes his snipe and his roll is completely different. He also has a chance to apply defense up at a very low rate, but defense up is very good and, well, not so much rare anymore, but it's still pretty rare to have someone that can reliably apply defense up. It's not very reliable, but it's constant. You can keep applying it so long as you keep him in his non-range, and that will last for a total of 4 turns. So that's going to come up later. And he also applies protection to himself. So basically, protects the whole party, protects himself, and can charge them, heal them, and grant them another layer of defense, which is pretty good. If you decide to move him, he will change his weapon to snipe, and every enemy he hits will have a very high chance of being inflicted with curse and drain, and also the enemies adjacent to them to their left and right, which is pretty good. This can lead to 3x3 curse and drain. In his 3-star, I believe it isn't drain, it's obstruct or something.
Yeah, it's a peculiar difference, to say the least.
And something that the 3-star doesn't have as well is a very high chance to apply skill lock in the same range, which is pretty busted. I don't think we have such a wide on-demand skill locker in a 3v3 radius. This one thing you can do with him is basically wait for a defense up to proc on his non-state, so that his team will still have the defensive potential to an additional defensive layer when he applies the curse and skill lock to the other enemies. So he's always going to be attenuating the damage from the enemy team, no matter what.
Yeah, for sure.
Both of these roles are boosted by his LB3, which I think it's also pretty good and complements these roles pretty well.
It looks like it'd be it looks like if you don't know what you're looking for, it'd be amazing. But in reality, if you think
What?
that, I'm talking about his LB3. You'd think it'd be amazing, but then if you think about it, it's like his LB3. It's only okay, in my opinion.
If you think about it, he will be able to copy one buff from every enemy to himself, starting with turn 2 and every 2 turns. This can be very good, especially if the enemies have face start crit plus. So then you can switch from your backline defensive support to an offensive disruptor and then deal high amounts of damage, or also gain some extra defenses to last longer, which I think it's pretty good, in my opinion. It can come in clutch because if you think about these scenarios, the face start procs from enemies, if you're running a defensive setup, can prove useful and be turned against them.
I have comments. I have things to say about this.
You will say that. I know you will. His charge ability also applies charm in sniper range, which is okay, I guess. A lot of units already apply charm, but the real thing is that he applies guts to everyone around him, and also heals everyone per hit, which is, I guess, it's pretty decent. It complements his defensive set a lot. I think he's a pretty solid unit, a solid defensive unit. It's one of the best ones in the banner as well.
Okay. So Zalgus, you can start off commenting on what Erbie said, or at least adding your own thoughts to this.
Yeah, I think I really like his support role. Honestly, I think I like his none support role better. But being able to spread cut, skill lock, and drain, I guess, range, whatever, in such a wide range is really quite useful. Big bros. It kind of sucks if they're not all in rows, but it's whatever. But yeah, I think I prefer his none. The stuff he does passively by mixing and applying both defense up and protection. Well, defense up if he's lucky, and that really fat CP battery, like up to 48 CP per turn, or plus. And I think the constant buff purging is also really useful.
Yeah, that's the part that I admire more.
It's a shame about the 60% prop rate, but if it were higher, that would be kind of.
That's another thing. I was like, it's under.
The prop rate isn't high, but it's there. It could have been lower.
I mean, it's like I wish they could have made it higher. I know it's all range, but at the same time, it's like he's a non-range unit. He's not going to be able to exploit it for the most of it, anyways.
Well, he is infernal, and he can change it to snipe, so it can be slightly exploitable.
Okay. I kind of wanted to correct one thing that you mentioned, Erbie. He does not do 3x3 range with his skill lock. Rather, he hits units, and then if those units are hit, then
I said it was the same range as the one before. I said the potential 3v3. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay. Well, it could be like 5v3, but that's never gonna happen. I know what you mean then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can be 5v3, but I don't even mention those guys.
Yeah, it's not. All right, I guess so. But, Erbie, could you read out the comments as well, and then I'll add my own thoughts before we continue.
Let's see. Daikoku's 5-star is way better than the 3-star because of the copying enemy buffs things. I wouldn't say it's just because of that, because the 5-star is a lot better in a lot of aspects versus the 3-star. I mean, the 3-star doesn't even apply skill lock or guts on CS, which can be pretty good. Also, I think the rates are just slightly lower, though I'm not sure about that.
The oppression is 10% lower. So
yeah. I didn't speak of that, but every 2 turns he applies oppression to the whole board.
It's like whatever.
Whatever rate, 70%, but it's not really that important. It's not very important. But let's see what else.
Yeah, losing the constant buff removal is someone.
You mean in the street? Oh, sorry. That's like someone speeding outside my window. My window is closed. This fucker. Sorry.
But yeah, losing the buff removal kind of sucks. But I think you can still make pretty good use of Daikoku as a backline support because constantly applying protection and lots of CP is nice. You could get a CS on everyone every 2 turns if you have him with someone with combo. So yeah, I still think his 3-star's alright, but
Okay, so I was actually
It could have been worse. It could have been something like Heracles.
okay. Heracles is an alright 3-star support. He give like a massive amount of CP every time he misses.
he gives the same amount as Astaroth, which is
20.
useful.
Right.
It can be useful.
This is 24, so it's even more than that. And actually,
yeah, it's more than that. It's 3 people. Heracles only gives
this was actually what I was about to hint on in to you before. His 3-star is extremely impressive. I'm surprised you didn't notice that. Like as Luster is saying, he basically acts like a 5-star Snow, and you're getting that for his 3-star as well. He gives the triple classic support, which is basically it's the iconic thing that Snow does, offering defense and healing and CP every single time he misses, and you don't have to move him. So I'm kind of amazed in terms of his 3-star, in terms of the comparative utility. The only like real issue I can see is like he's not quite like 5-star Snow because his own personal defense sucks. Like it's not guaranteed his self protection. And it's not like he has 2 defense buffs either, except for Curse, I guess. But then you have to alternate between them.
sort of alright. I didn't think too much about it because Astaroth can do almost the same thing except the roll change to apply that extra curse.
Yeah,
so
but
I didn't think too much at it.
well, Astaroth has like miss that fucking magic range. This is like literally an untight, so missing should be easier. But yeah.
Or you just charge him really quickly.
For the 3-star Daikoku, he basically does the same thing that Astaroth could, except he also provides these other neat things like HP and CP. HP, CP, and defense all together rolled into one. So I'm sort of surprised he didn't.
Astaroth does that too, though.
Well, she does that, and offensive too.
Yeah, her rates aren't as stable though.
Yeah, this is basically like it's basically guaranteed here. CP is guaranteed.
It's almost
protection
guaranteed.
is guaranteed, and for like his 3-star, it's like near guaranteed. Like it's at 80%, 90% if you decide to seed him. So he really does act like a Snow, except he's vulnerable, which is I'm actually not impressed by his attacking features at all. I'd like to add that much. He's an Infernal unit, but he's a non-range. That's probably the worst combination. The worst combination you can ever think of. Even worse than like Valiant and anything. It's Infernal and none. It's just a none unit. Infernal's gimmick is about dealing extra damage, but then he's non-range, so he can only take extra damage.
The good thing about it, as I've said before, is that he can steal high attack boosting buffs every 2 turns. I think that's pretty good. Not a lot of units can do that to the whole board. Suddenly getting a fucking crit plus from face start Babylon or something. It can help out a lot, and his damage can be really high if you stack a lot of buffs. I did test him out in the test seeding quest, and he dealt actually a surprising amount of damage to
did he?
Valiant units.
Okay. To Valiant units. Yeah, sure.
What?
To Valiant units. Oh, wait, that's right. Infernal is weak against
Valiant. It takes half damage. So.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
They take half damage, so that's why it's impressive.
Yeah.
And that's actually on top of his snipe penalty too. Okay, if you've tested that, then that actually seems. It's okay.
a lot of units have a lot of buffs there, and Tez can also steal buffs, so you can steal them right back.
Okay, I guess he does have his use in terms of attacking. I just haven't tested out. Just from reading this, it doesn't look like it because snipe penalty, and then he's already better off.
That is kind of middling.
Yeah, and then also like it's not like 7,000 or anything. It's just like normal.
It really depends on that. On that copy buffs mechanic. So it's not.
And at the same time, in addition to all of that, he doesn't have any damage buffs to himself, so it would be exclusively tied to his ability to steal buffs. And in addition to that, as a non-range unit, he actually doesn't have any way to build CP naturally at all, which is super strange. Yeah, that's super strange. Which, by the way, like non-units are a weird exception in that they can't even build CP when they're hit. So
he does if you change his role. I think that is primarily the point. You want to get that defense up so that you can switch your role.
I mean,
like Curse.
at the same time,
And then at a certain point in time, you're gonna get three defensive measures on your team. Eventually.
Yeah, but it means he stops doing protection to himself and his allies up front.
Yeah.
So no double defense.
But the curse keeps on going.
True. It's a thing, I guess.
And if the defense up is there, it's going to last until he goes back to none and applies protection again, and the curse will still be there as well. So that is one turn of 3 defensive buffs to consider at least.
I suppose so. But either way, his charge is not going to build. That's why I didn't want to talk about it. I mean, Guts is okay, but even like the amount of CP you get for hitting units at Snipe Rage is like minimal. The only thing that provides less is all range at that point. So it's you're gonna literally.
I think his CS is kind of unimpressive, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't think it's not the main attraction.
I didn't write any notes for it because I was just like, you're not gonna be using it for his charge at all. It's gonna take too long to build up unless you do a charge build up, and even then, it's just charm, which is
probably better off. You're probably better off just missing for the support buffs or hitting them directly for the debuffs rather than charm.
Yeah, like would you really rather have like charm and guts over a skill lock? I mean, I guess it's conditional, but it's it's if you're playing with him, you're not gonna be building around his charge at all. It's gonna be there if it comes clutch maybe, but it's gonna be hard to build up in the first place.
He likes Tsukuyomi and Tanatomo. Don't know if I want to pair him with them.
He wouldn't pair well with any of them, I believe.
Yeah.
He likes it.
Unless you get some weird positioning on the last turn with Tsukuyomi.
Yeah.
I guess.
Fuck that.
I completely forgot like relations, but it's like I don't know. And more okay. So final remaining thoughts about him for me. Oppression's whatever. If you guys didn't know, oppression stops him from moving for 2 turns technically, but the way it works, it's the counter for debuffs on enemy side goes down whenever the enemy sub phase begins. So that means they'll only be freezing every 2nd turn in the end, and it's not an amazing rate either. And the second thing about him is I'm sort of iffish about the stealing part. I'm more like impressed of like the fact that it removes the buff at all. Because for some reason LifeWonders is pretty stingy with the attack with the activation rates for removing buffs, and this is like it's an okay activation rate in comparison, 60% to all units every 2 turns. The stealing buff is just a bonus, but as Erbie demonstrated himself, or at least from what he said, it seems like it has its utility if you do decide to play attack Daikoku style, which is a bit strange to me, but he made it work, so I guess it's a thing that could happen.
The thing about going attack mode on him is that he will still provide the defenses for your team. He's still gonna skill lock your units and curse them, so you're still gonna have that damage drop no matter what. So I don't think it's that bad to consider it at the very least from my test.
Okay.
Time for the Zal question. Is his 3-star worth raising?
Zal.
Yeah, I think it's 3 stars worth raising. He's a really strong CP battery still, and he can still protect himself and the row in front pretty easily. He has like the same rates, 40 and 45. Yeah, I think his 3 stars worth raising for sure. He's probably one of the strongest CP batteries in the game.
Especially for his 3-star. I'm surprised he didn't like instantly go ooga booga over this.
I don't have that many resources right now. Losing his remove buff is a shame, but you can make do without it. I just realized he's going to completely dumpster any giant boss because he's going to purge 9 buffs off of them.
Yeah, actually, that's pretty good in that case.
Any giant buff is going to be.
So I guess
he's steal all of them for himself.
Boss is just like a.
Oh god.
What was his face again? Envari too. Albrecht. Yeah, boss is like him.
Albrecht, yes. Could have just stole all those buffs all at once and just one-shot him.
Yeah, that's kind of
no need for me to try and find people who remove them.
Yeah, for sure, and it can't be countered by
I think he's one of the. I think him and Bael are the best units on banner.
Likewise.
So the 5 stars ended up being the best. Big surprise.
I think mine is too, or it.
Maybe it's Discord.
Both of your internets are dying.
Yeah, that's a surprise.
Is it like the stream is dying or something? Does it on your side? Sorry, I don't really look at the direct stream. I look
do find it that he charms with his CS. How do you charm people like?
It looks like my ping's fine, but.
Oh, okay. Let's slow down a bit. And does it look fine on your side, Erbie?
I can't listen to you properly. You're speaking in.
Oh, does it look fine to you, Erbie? The stream on your side?
Wait. Discord sounds. There we go. Discord sounds fine.
Luther, stop scaring everyone away. We're still trying to stream. Jeez.
Yeah, your stream is still lagging.
How's it now?
Why does my quality keep dipping? There we go. You sound fine.
Okay, we all sound fine, you think? Okay.
Seems like it's loading. It's not. I mean, it has loaded. So.
Okay.
I think it's okay now.
Now that just makes me paranoid about my own internet connection because I know that mine. When I think about it, like it doesn't happen often, but my own internet connection kind of sometimes. What's up, Erbie?
I can still listen to you with sort of like hiccups, like you start talking, but then I stop hearing you from time to time.
Damn it!
In Discord,
is that the same on your side, Zalgus?
No, I can hear you perfectly fine right now.
Erbie, it's your side. Okay.
Damn it.
Anyway, that was a weird hiccup. Sorry that happened, but it's we're not all swimming in like high-end internet connections, all wired directly to our ISPs or whatever. Please bear with us. Anyways, do we have any remaining thoughts for Daikoku?
One of the best 3-stars in the game right now, probably.
All right, can't wait for you to use him and make the 3-star names not a meme anymore.
I don't own him.
Oh, do you not want to pull for a 3?
I'm not gonna pull on this banner. I only have like 250 stones.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Save them for the Shino better.
Whenever new semester gets reran again.
Or I was talking about like a Shino feature banner, just like Claudin.
Yeah, that's actually kind of what I'm hoping for.
That's his entire life at this point, just like waiting for something that may or may not happen ever.
It says, I think Daikoku charms people who have a daddy kink. Okay.
Okay. Anyways.
Okay. That can be true, I guess.
So all comments in the chat have been answered, right?
Damn, now I gotta wonder if Bael or Daikoku 3 I should rate. I mean, just raise them both. I'd
raise Bael. No, not Bael. I'd raise Daikoku. If you have to choose
Daikoku is probably more generically useful. CP Barry can apply to a lot more units, and whereas Bael, he relies a bit more on his buff reversal since it's his big buff or debuff. But I mean, 3-stars are cheap enough to raise. So, all right, they're both infernal. So.
Okay.
Farm Infernal.
It's pretty easy to build up level Infernal units anyways because it's like I don't know. There's so few and and then you gotta pull bench in a shop and then you take them to dungeons and then there's no more left and then you still have leftovers of yours. Anyways, that's me anyways. Moving on. I was originally gonna intend Balor to be next, but because we decided the order right after, I'll just skip directly to Nezha now because yeah.
Why?
Well, because I'm speaking next. Who's introducing the topic first? And because you two went first, yeah. And then yeah. All right. So Nezha. They are kind of a meme, like a really big meme. It's their playstyle is I don't know. It's very conditional of when you'd want to use this unit over anyone else. What they have, the one feature that they have that no one else has, is being able to have two things paired together. That is extended movement, in this case it's the horizontal direction, paired with on charge movement expansion. So this means that this is a unit that can actually, without any help from anyone else, move 3 squares to the left or 3 squares to the right, in addition to 2 squares up and 2 squares down whenever they have their move and expansion up, and they can get this buff up as often as needed, as long as you decide to move them every turn, because it turns out that with these acceleration stacks, which, yes, this is the first buff that can quote-unquote stack. Not really, but, they made it look like it can stack.
Yeah.
They made it look like it can stack, but in the game that they're actually considered as different buffs overall. But basically, if you stack them all by constantly moving here, that along with the CP you get from Ardor, as well as the CP you get from her last skill on move, the 14 CP, it turns out she gets something like around 40 CP every single turn, so that effectively means that she can actually get her charge up every 3 turns, which is the exact length of the movement expansion buff. So every 2 turns, you'll have her movement expansion up, and then on last turn, on the third turn of every 3 turns, she won't have it up, but that's also her charge turn to refresh that. So she'll basically always be able to move except for every third turn, and when on the third turn she can just delete stuff. They can just delete stuff. They're a fairly decent hard-hitting unit and went on their charge. At least their 4 is. Not really, there's 3. Their 4...
3 sucks.
Yeah, I did the damage calculation for the 3. It's not even worth commenting on, even with the charge. But for the 4, it's pretty decent. What was the specific value I wrote for that? It looks like they deal... Teda, Nezha, very professional. 20k damage per square without burn advantage. So with Ardor and with crit, they're able to do 20k damage for every square they hit, and that's pretty neat. It's not game breaking or anything, but it's nice to have that a decent amount of damage every when you're deciding to commit so much to moving this unit, anyways. They also have other parts of their kits that I don't know. They're super supplementary. They have partial immunity to movement disabling buffs. I say partial because it's not every, but they are immune to fear and oppression, which is nice because those are the most common movement disabling buffs. Of course, they're not immune to other stuff like break or paralysis, unfortunately. And the other parts of the kit is it exists if you actually decide to hit units with her regular attack, which I'm not actually too sure why you'd want to do that. They deal it deals okay damage. Actually, I didn't even write down how much damage it did in my notes because it's that random even with the buffs. Burn advantage and Ardor makes them punch hard, but honestly, there's a lot better blow units that can deal a lot more massive damage. You're
like Wakan.
Yeah, obviously the quintessential blow unit in terms of damage. So just having these Ardor and burn advantage isn't super impressive. I don't really know why you'd want to attack them. And if you do attack them, it's provides some safety. They push the unit they hit to the right as well as pushing themselves to the left. It's just it's too bad it's not paired with anything oppression or fear, so that they can't retaliate back and just move back to her.
Unless you paralyze them, which is a stupid skill, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd want to.
I don't understand that part of his arcade at all.
It just exists. I don't know.
It's a low rate, and they have no self-defensive buffs, and their HP is kind of low. Actually, really low.
Very low.
So
it's
really stupid.
Yeah, these other features they exist, and I'm like, huh, that's neat. But in real.
At least you can do some pretty good memes with her and Tajikaro.
Yeah, there's I think Erbie prepared a video. It's just hey, look, I can push units 3 times in a row with you pushed 2 units and then another unit with freaking Taji, and it's wow, that's a lot of pushing.
my idea was to push them up, but there were units interrupting that place. With Ashigara, so I could do the full fairy comp.
Yeah, it was just a conveyor belt moving to right. It's I mean, if you ever need that for some reason, I guess it'll be good for you.
Go for that if you're into it.
So yeah, it's we kind of have to comment on that part of their kit because it's so peculiar, but in reality, it's something you would never use for practical purposes at all because they're better off slightly in the background. In the ally zone, there's you own 3 rows you're actually better off keeping Nezha in the middle row so that she has access to the back row as well. Because really the one thing you don't want to be using Nezha for is ferrying units, which is like a very specific thing to want to use it in for, just for ferrying. But
usually an An.
yeah, well, the reason why I say Nezha is meant for ferrying is because they can do something that Lianen can't do, even though it's only for 2 of every 3 turns. Move street, yeah. And that's like, I mean, when would that ever happen? But I guess if it does happen, use Nezha.
Dungeon, maybe.
It could have happened if you sacrifice your Kotaro for.
Okay. What? Alright, whatever. But this is for for very long games. I guess, just like the whole, whatchamacallit, like the whole Bael video I made about that canon challenge quest. Ghost has a purpose, even if there's only a singular purpose of like moving a unit and they serve no other purpose. I mean, it's still, there could be challenge quests like that, and Nezha could be that, except for like a wide map or a large map.
It would need to be the widest map possible, and you would also need all 5 tiles.
Yeah.
So it seems kind of excessive to me, but
and they can't even reach all 5 tiles technically. They can only reach like 3, and then that's it.
If the map is that big as well, it's not gonna serve for that much guiding because there's gonna be a lot more enemies spread out across the map.
Yeah. So unfortunately, their main purpose. Sorry, I keep on messing up their gender. It's whatever. Anyways,
it's still kind of unclear.
Apparently they're male in their original mythology or something, but
yes.
something. It's the distortion of mythologies, and how things are. Anyways, I'm saying that this is really their main purpose because everything else in their kit is not going to be their main purpose. Like, you're really going to want to push units without paralyzing. Not really. They don't even deal massive damage. So the only thing that they're cut out to do is really their charge-based expanded movement, coupled with their already expanded movement in the horizontal direction. And yeah, that's the only case I feel like I would recommend them in this very like test tube conditions specific environment where they would actually be useful in ferrying units in large maps, where positioning is just that critical.
Yeah, I think Nezha's easily the worst unit on banner. I guess you can kite one enemies with 1 wide attacks. It's like, okay, but that's only 1 enemy. You have to move them multiple times, for acceleration to ramp up, and you have to keep moving.
That's the thing.
For what purpose? So you keep moving someone for okay CP gain only to self, and then okay damage only on CS. Like, that's not worth it. It's really not worth it. So yeah, I think Nezha poo.
The ironic thing is, even though they're a CP battery to self, they would actually not play well with other CP batteries that would support her, because that would mess up the timing of her movement expansion getting exhausted. Like, they really need to have exactly 3 turns for charge. If it happens faster, then yeah, they're just gonna be not have that movement expansion up for as much turns as you could.
If you wanted to charge, just put Daikoku behind her with combo unit. There we go. You have 50 CP per turn now.
Yeah, but like I said, at the same time, you don't want her to bring her charge early. They're really meant for having their charge up every 3 turns. No sooner than that.
Who cares?
Well, why would you use her anyways?
Hey! I'm keeping an eye out for it. Like, I like positioning memes when they do matter, because it's like buff stacking is a meme. All range is a meme, and but positioning can also be a meme.
One day this meme will be useful.
One day. All right. Any lingering thoughts? If not, we can read the comments. So I'll read the comments this time because you started off before. Ooh boy, there's been a lot. Yeah, streams talking, vroom vroom. Of course, there's gonna be vroom vroom memes for them. Need to move 3 times for console acceleration. Nezha is not a team player aside from map movement. Yeah, they are not a team player. If you're gonna play with her in terms of doing positioning cheese or positioning stats, you're gonna want some units that are self-sufficient that can also don't require moving. So, of course, the quintessential example of that is like Chernobyl, but units like that who don't need to move and who are also self-sufficient. It's alright. Oh, Karen says, "Oh wait, is her S1 unmoved and accelerated self-serve or moves 3 times?" It means that when she moves, she'll gain 1 acceleration stack. When she moves again, she can actually gain another acceleration on top of the existing acceleration. And when she moves again, then she can gain a third one on top of the original 2 accelerations. And then by the fourth turn, the first acceleration stack will disappear because acceleration only lasts 3 turns. So at a maximum, we can have 3 acceleration stacks, which each provides 8 CP. So that means you could potentially have 24 CP every turn.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like exactly a lot. It's like freaking Daikoku already does that on miss. It's like, okay.
It takes 3 turns to do that when Daikoku can do it in 1 turn, and you can combo that.
Yeah, like I said, she's not they're not exactly a CP battery. It's more of a meme to so you're forced to play around every 3 turns specifically, to play around that buff length as well as
of all the gimmicks, this is the worst one.
I mean, more things to fill. I guess I don't know. Let's see. She sucks. They suck. Correct. They suck.
Still kind of unclear, unfortunately.
Okay. They. This unit sucks. Housamo English Archives, AK Archendale. Sorry to expose you like that. Says just use Lianon. Housamo Meta 2020. Yeah, I was pretty excited to save my stones and get part 2 until I didn't get Lianon. So I actually had just enough in the very last hour to do one more multi, and I decided to pull part 1 instead of part 2. So that just goes showing how much I care about the part 2 banner versus Lianon's existence at all. Lotus no gender. Yeah, that was the myth, I think. Like they're born as a male, but then something they turned into a lotus.
Yeah. Something. That's the
out of context.
Yeah. Do you play Housamo? No, I don't. Let's see. They want to go fast, but the cost wasn't worth it. Yeah, like I said, they're not about spamming their charge early. I mean, they are, but specifically for chickens, for only okay-ish damage. They're really just for if you want to see them have specific use. It really is just for repositioning. Wow, we talked a long time about her. Surprisingly, yeah, I think it's because of the whole weird thing with the timer. Their NB, I mean, NB
it's unclear right now. The translators say that, in the event Nezha first appeared, they referred to Nezha as a he, but the internal data now says it's female, and so
wait, it's another arc case.
It's close to arc situation.
Arc situation
it's probably
is
going to end up.
Yeah, arc
as they, so unclear.
Yeah, so there is a difference between non-binary and ambiguous. We have another ambiguous case in this case, I suppose. But in either case, you'd use they, but that doesn't mean that you can just call them non-binary. They might actually end up being male or female, but we just don't know.
Not quite the same thing.
Yeah. Anyway, this is not sexual studies or gender education. It's we should move on. Hi, I just.
Next question.
Right. Can you imagine if the game tasks with English version will be voice acted? English voice acted. Yeah, just watch my channel and you'll see it. You'll see me doing wonderful voice acting for all the past events and stuff like that. Yeah.
Watch our murder Zal's voice.
Oh God.
And Boris says, "Hi, I just joined the stream to say that this weekly missions are. I'm gonna have to check it after. Spoiler, it. But yeah, after this discussion, I'm gonna be doing the dungeons.
Are weekly missions all the same, or
no? Sometimes I believe one week there was actually a week without any quota missions. That was a godsend.
No, I mean, are they the same between users? Are they globally the same?
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Oh,
That's it. So yeah, I kind of started at the same time because it applies to everyone. They can start the missions or whatever. But anyways, we talked enough about this character that should not have much to say about. This is what I mean. 5 stars are simple to understand, whereas all these 4 stars take forever to explain.
Yeah, because we're still missing 2 of them.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I have the longest explanation probably.
Okay, so we will.
I think you do, yeah.
So we will continue with. Wow, this order is messed up. With
oh, that's a typo.
Huh?
On Balor's CS, there's a typo. That's not how you're supposed to press.
Suppress.
bottom.
Oh, yes. Suppress.
I mean,
At the bottom.
isn't that just like a fan translation? Anyways, it's whatever.
It's okay, whatever.
Okay, so
At least someone translated it. That's the thought that counts.
So-
I'll mention that later.
all right, Zalgus, you began first, so that means you'll be contending next to right now, right?
It's
Who was
Teda.
You're-
Oh. So Teda, he has another gimmicky kit. Honestly, I think he might have the most gimmicky kit on Banner. So this is something that you summarized as a blow unit, but he has actual range.
Mhm.
So when Teda shoots something, he hits the first unit for full damage, but then he gives himself a unique debuff called Attack Reduction that makes the remainder of his attacks do no damage, or basically no damage.
That is technically not an attack debuff. I mean, but it's not listed as a debuff, so you can't.
Apparently, you can't try and be cheeky and get 2 hits with Nullify debuff or something. So, yeah. So Teda's attack stat is really high. He's the second highest 4-star in the entire game, and the first one being Valentine's Serta. So he can hit very hard, and he gives himself 3 attack buffs at a very high rate. He'll always have Ardor and Brawn, and usually have attack up. So he hits extremely hard, but only for the first unit in the column that he's in. So he's not really built for clearing the board quickly, except for his CS, which I'll talk later. But so he also has a bit of support. He can give Ardor to his allies and heal and CP batteries to the row behind him. So that's nice enough. And he can copy the buffs of allies in the row behind him on phase start. So he can really be built for like putting a lot of punch into that one shot. So you know, if there's a mission where you need to pick off enemies at a safe range, Teda will be your man, because you know, he can deal a ton of damage at a range. Did I actually write how much damage he does? No, I didn't. Oh well.
I actually did write them down. So without any buffs, I mean without his Ardor, for his 3 stars he inflicts 2. That's actually not a lot. 2.9k without Ardor on shot range. Really, that low? Actually no. I'm reading his charge damage. Right. He actually inflicts 10k damage on his 3 with Ardor, obviously, and he for his snipe, his 4, he inflicts 16k damage. This is of course with all his buffs.
So yeah, he can hit pretty hard at a range, but only 1 unit per turn, which is niche, but I could see it being useful in certain quests, because there's nothing saying you can't pack even more buffs on him, because Brawn and attack up are already pretty rare. So that's the first part of him. The other part of him is that his CS is all range, and he's actually one of the few units who, he's actually one of the few units who at 3-star has an all range CS, which can be pretty useful. So he provides. So I'm gonna say the same thing I usually do, which is pair him with Lianan, because pair him with Lianan. He at 3-star he deals about 90k damage. Is it?
With Lianan?
That doesn't sound right.
What?
I think I forgot.
Doesn't
I think
sound right. Yeah.
I think I forgot to write down 3-star. Well, his 4-star deals 90k damage to the entire board, with Lianan buffing him. So his CS is really powerful, but for some reason they decided to give him the stupid phase start minus 20 CP.
I mean, we know why they did that.
Everyone knows why they did that.
It's the meta is a bit pursued.
Yeah, they don't want all units to take over the meta, but you can still work around that. If you put like big CP batteries, like Christmas Ryota.
Yeah, with this new skill evolution, which is if you guys
like 50 CP.
Yeah. We'll talk about that some other time. Next weekend, the skill evolutions, when hopefully all of them will be ready. Yeah, but for now, let's Christmas Ryota, or like another ruler with the Shiro 5 card stuff.
Yeah,
Like that.
That'll be excellent for him. So
he got that phase star charge.
So yeah, I think Teda's cool. Ranged blow unit. That's a unique niche that could be useful. because blow units are inherently really risky to use. So if you take some of the power out of that, some of the destructive power out, but give them snipe range, this could be a really useful niche. And he could be a budget nuker, since his 3-star can do all range CS. But it's not quite as potent because he doesn't give himself as much buffs and less multipliers. But it's there. Also, his CS does not apply attack reduction, so it will actually clear the map.
Yeah, not just the first unit. It's after attack. That'd be so dumb. But this was the other unit that I was excited to talk to you about, Zalg, because
he's neat. Well, you think I'm going to use him?
Well, yeah, or at least Toy was using him, because fucking.
I would like to.
The biggest meme. There's so many memes that are stuff together. It's just we already know that all range buff stacking is how one of the most popular strategies right now, and now you can do it with a 3-star, because a 3-star now has fucking copy all buffs. It's honestly
copy all buffs. So we were discussing this last night, but it would work best with people who have stuff like crit plus, or other rare buffs that you would like to steal that appear on face star, or can last a few turns. He could even steal stuff like prayer.
Yeah, I'm gonna
really wanted.
I'm gonna need Erbie to explain the ideal order for this, because I tried to explain it, but I kept on getting it wrong. So please explain, Erbie, the slotting.
Basically, you'll want Teda to be either on the 3rd slot optimally or the 2nd slot suboptimally. You don't want Teda to be on the last slot, because even though, yes, on the last slot he'll be able to copy more buffs, his 20 CP drop will happen after that. So it won't matter how many CP batteries you have before him. He's just gonna drop his CP by 20 after that.
You can only ever get 80 at most.
You want your CP battery on phase start to be after him. As we said before, Christmas Ryota is perfect for that position. You want Christmas Ryota to be behind him on phase start. You get immediately 50 and immediately counters that 20 CP. So you want that, and the other units to have all the phase start buffs like crit or something before him, like Fashionista Wakan that has crit plus and can grant crit to him as well.
Yeah.
To nuke the whole board essentially. It's pretty gimmicky and hard to set up, but
I imagine it could. I imagine there'll be a CQ where he'll be useful and he'll just snipe someone from across the map.
I mean, it basically just combines freaking Idra's meminess with an all range unit, so that's really potent potentially. But he's just like a freaking Bael. He sort of requires test tube conditions to actually work out that specific exploitation. So it might not be. It's probably not worth it in most cases, but like I said, that's usually the challenge quest trees.
I think Teda is he's niche, but he's actually useful in his niche, unlike Nezha, who just kind of sucks.
Zalgus is going in hard. I'm telling you, Nezha could be useful if the challenge quest's exclusive key to winning it is just movement.
You really need horizontal movement times 2.
Yeah, that's their only thing, but it could happen. It could happen.
One of these years.
But yeah, Teda
Housamo 2, look forward to it.
Teda, I think he's neat enough.
Yeah, and it's 4 stars, it's okay. 3-star, I'm just 3-star can do everything the 4 stars can in terms of the whole setup thing. Of course, it's just weaker overall, but it's
does the HP reduction on his CS occur before or after? Just
it's varying. So it's Corpora was an example. It would count to it. You can just basically just add it to the damage, and then it would still count to It's not like it's added afterwards or something.
Okay, good.
CS damage is always added with the lethal hit. Yeah.
Okay, so that's just a bit of extra damage. Not that much, but it could be nice.
All right. So, any lingering thoughts on Teda? Teda.
I would like to pull him, but
another really fantastic 3-star that Zalgus unfortunately will be skipping out on.
yeah, that's honestly, I wouldn't mind the 3 stars of all the units on this banner except for Nezha, who troll pull.
You're really going in hard on Nezha. I mean, technically, Nezha can do the same things too in terms of dealing, except for actually dealing damage at all. But yeah. All right. So, Erbie, did you have something to say? Sorry.
No, I just said wood memes.
Forever a meme. I mean, technically, even Egypt turned out to be, but he turned out to be a decent meme. But like, even anyway. Yeah. Like he's super strong, but like tested condition strong.
It's still a meme.
Yeah. At this point, they're just embracing the role with Nezha. So, Kid, Zalgus, you read the comments before we move on.
Sure. Balor, the Barabate. Yeah, Barabate. Babiok is a coward. How so? He drew Balor, didn't he?
I don't know
Robbie,
artists. I don't know artists.
I haven't been following what the artists have been doing.
Unless it's Jiro, I don't care. Or one person.
That's true. A good example of attacking an enemy at safe range would be Algon on CQ cheesing. I mean, you could do that with anyone, like that person doing a rank.
You could do with that one. You don't need damage from snap range.
Teda wouldn't be beneficial in the support slot. Yeah, just unless you plan to go full in on the regular attacks and don't care about the CS, which I would say is a mistake because the CS is stronger.
Yeah,
or,
I mean, it might have.
Got 3 copies though. Kill me. Yeah, sorry about that.
I mean, vroom.
I think someone complained that they don't even say that in.
Yeah, they don't say
Bael.
that.
That's
when moving, I think.
What is even the point?
Why do they even? What a missed opportunity! LifeWonders, please cancel this unit and only re-release them when they have save room.
Yeah, that's lame.
All right.
That's funny. Yeah, preview video.
It was the best preview ever. Like I don't care about their kit. That was a great preview. Anyway, Erbie, it is your turn. With the last unit in this banner,
Balor.
Balor.
He a valiant blow unit, but he's pretty much
kind of another meme. Like
it's pretty much gonna be. Yes, he's also a meme that has a really weird niche. It's pretty much a non-unit despite being blow range because well you can do some decent damage on blow range, but you're
not gonna be playing around.
You're not gonna be playing around that exactly. You're going to play that. You're going to play around his CS, which you'll want to trigger. You'll want to trigger as much as you can because that CS is very devastating. It pretty much applies countdown to all enemies. If this is all under a certain condition that I will explain later, but basically it applies countdown and deals crit plus damage to enemies with countdown and a fixed amount of damage on top of that, which is
it's actually even more than it's even more than Corporate the fixed damage.
Yes. It's ridiculous. It deals ridiculous damage on his CS, but the twist is that his CS is actually non-range, so he can't use it unless he gains a new buff called CS Weapon Change All, which he has a 10% chance.
Wow!
After he gets buffed.
10%.
So you need to trigger this. This only lasts 1 turn. So if you get this buff when getting a buff on the enemy turn through whatever reason, or if you're using Tangaroa, it's not going to last until the next turn. You're going to need to proc this on the turn you're attacking.
Yeah, so phase start buffs, on move buffs that, one attacking buffs if the attacker is like before.
Leonan.
Leonan. You usually want to use him with a lot of buffers. That Leonan, for instance, can give him glint, so that he further increases his chance of getting his CS weapon change. while also on top of that adding a bunch of other buffs. What else can I say? He has passive CP generation, which can help him out, reach his CS faster.
It's
But
like
if he doesn't get that after buff weapon change, he's pretty much just going to become a non-unit and apply a bunch of debuffs that some of them aren't really that common at all.
Yeah, paralysis.
Paralysis. He has the highest paralysis chance in the whole game, I believe, outside
are you
CS.
serious? Why is it so hard to get have a good paralysis
Yes,
skill?
he has the.
It's
and
not
he can
even
apply-
guaranteed even when fully seated. What the heck?
He can apply it to 2 units or 3, I believe. If
It's
he changes
shot range.
Yes, it's shot range, but since he applies this on miss,
Alright,
if
he has
he's
to
still on.
miss.
Yeah, it's basically like
Yeah,
Kijimuna. It's
it's-
like you can't
yeah,
actually do it if you
but-
hit them.
But you can do it if he has his CS charge and don't get his CS weapon change.
Yeah, so like
to all.
Kijimura, you know, his irregular, he's actually better with less range than with more range.
Yeah, so you can apply countdown, paralysis, and stigma with that, which is pretty good. The rates for stigma and paralysis are okay. Countdown is slightly lower, but it's still higher than a lot of things we have
Fucking
right now.
like Kushi's rate, what was it? It was also like only 10%
It was
immediate,
like,
right?
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this
Here
is like
we have 40%
that's
countdown.
pretty damn good in comparison,
It's pretty good.
and honestly,
It's-
like I know we kind of meme on countdown before, but like 20k per turn if you're actually landing it is decent.
it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's something pretty decent if you're not running a buff stacking team, right?
you should be.
Yeah, you should be. But if you decide not to, then like countdown's there to provide that damage.
One big downside to him is that he actually loses HP every turn. So using him with Lianan will keep decreasing his HP very fast.
But the limit.
So we usually usually want to get guts on him or.
And their start of turn
something
thing
to
is
counter
like,
that.
it's baffling.
Yeah,
they don't have limit, they don't have guts, so it's kind of like 10 Grizzler syndrome where they just lose HP like
I
a
think
dumbass
I
for no reason.
I think they just wanted that because no, this is too powerful.
It's not
10%
10
chance to
CP
use
per
it.
turn is nothing. They tried to balance it, but it's like 10 CP per turn is nothing. All right, that takes 10 turns to build up their charge, and even
Yes.
then they still can't use it until they get lucky with activating CS weapon
Yes,
buff. It's not-
exactly. It's too powerful. He needs that start of turn 3.
And like he's supposed to function as a tank too, in a sense, because he has 2
Yes,
defense
he
buffs,
has-
tenacity and enmity, and also you can also consider paralysis as well. So he's a damage rescaler because of Sigma and paralysis, and as a tank. But why would a tank like be losing his own HP and have no ways to heal? It's kind of big brain moment right there.
His HP also sucks.
Other people that
Yeah, his-
can cover up this. That's why I didn't consider Lenin that much because I did use Lenin with him and I did see his HP drop very fast as I tried to get that CS weapon change all to self. So usually it's good to bring some heals with him if you want to use them.
Healer guts.
He has a reliable source of brawn to self, which I
Yeah,
don't
that's
think
fair.
I don't think it's very common at all. I think it's rare. So
It's one of the rarest buffs.
yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. That's every turn. Too bad it's fucking Braun, then it lasts forever, so it doesn't really help him
Yeah.
build up his all changed because once it's up, he can't trigger it again. Like, come on, something better would
Probably
like
better if they gave
limit would have been perfect. You know, actually make him hit hard every single time he misses, and it refreshes every turn. But no, they gave him Braun for some reason.
Limit or Ardor, since that's short and gives CP.
Anything like that.
Crit. There's no way they would give
Every
such a high
turn.
rate.
I mean, they
They
fucking
give
made
crit,
Lianen,
that's
which
ridiculous.
they gave Lianen, all right, which gives more buffs than like more damage increase than.
But it does have
crit
stigma, and it does have stigma on it. So, and that's 100% exceeded.
Yeah,
It's all right. So he also has that adamantine after being hit, but
Shame it's after.
yeah, it's after. So he's still pretty tanky. He can take a lot of blows despite his low HP, but he's going to keep draining it.
Yeah, it's like usually you'd want a tank that doesn't reduce their own HP. So in reality, he's on a timer. It's just that it's a very slow timer. he can't.
Yeah.
He can last for long games, but he can't last for very long games. So like, okay, sure,
But if you
sure, I
pair
guess.
if you pair him with a good healer, he can last very long. I think that's the point. That's what they wanted to do with him, to not make him into an old charge meme.
He already is an all charge meme. He can only get. That's his entire gameplay. He can only use it through a meme.
They didn't want it to be so easily accessible and so.
I mean, I guess it's Magger drinking on the street, but still, his entire kit. It's not really based on a utility thing. It's based on like a meme, which is like it's a real. When it actually does happen, it's actually one of the most powerful charges in terms of like you don't have to stack much for.
I tried using him on without any sort of attack buffer with him.
Yeah, he does like massive damage.
I saw the damage. He does massive damage, anyways.
Yes. So he's sort of like kind of like a. You don't have to bring the entire team, but if you still want to do all charge memes, I wrote it down here. It looks like he does, even for his 3, he does 17k damage per square. Well, I guess that's magic range, so whatever. But plus 10k from the countdown afterwards when the turn ends. And for his 4, he deals 24k per damage per square, and then another 10k.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
If you pair him with Lianan, you get 190k to the whole board.
Yeah, but of course the issue is trying to strike a wet match with his
or 180k for his
just
stuff.
skill seed him, give him glints and concentration.
You'll have a 30%. 40%.
And use them with Tez.
Yeah,
okay, that's too much effort. Just use Kotaro, honestly.
Numbers.
I know, but you get big numbers with Kotaro too. Kotaro builds up faster. This is like 10 CP per turn. That's 10 turns. That's 10 turns.
All right,
Christ.
Kotaro has this 4x multiplier.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Balor's thing is he can deal decent damage without extra buffs, I guess.
His crit plus doesn't scale with SCA level. It's going to
it's full damage at level 1, which is nice.
So you don't actually need big amounts of SA to deal a lot of damage, unlike Kotaro, which needs a lot of
just pull for Andy and like keep on getting Kotaro instead, like I did.
But yeah, I think Balor's debuff bot with paralysis and stigma is pretty neat because they're fairly rare and pretty strong buffs. They last an okay amount of time, and
I honestly wish they'd spread horizontally adjacent, but that probably would have been too powerful. So I guess I can see why they didn't do that.
Ridiculous nuke when he CSs. So I think he's okay. Not as good as the 2 5-stars on Banner, but honestly, I think he's just with his debuff botting. I'd probably say he's probably better than Teda and Nezha.
Yeah, he certainly requires less specific setup to make him work.
Pretty much just get a buff bot and or even without the buff bot, spreading paralysis is useful because it's such a rare and long-lasting buff.
Whereas today, you're just going to need that positioning, that CP battery, that
bust steal.
Everything here is just a meme, honestly.
It's just a lot of effort for Ted or Teda.
Teda, whatever. And this is a last thing is just, I guess we didn't really talk about that last thing, or more mentioned in passing, but he's a damage rescaler, paralysis and stigma, so that's like in both ways he reduces damage as well as increases damage, and he does flat damage. It's just, it's a thing, I guess. And
you could also reduce CP with him.
We don't talk about Giant. Giant doesn't exist. We don't talk about Giant.
I mean, if you get paralysis on him, you can blow back the blow unit, and it's going to be stuck in place. In this scenario, this specific scenario. Yeah.
That's
dead skill.
We're not gonna. We're just gonna pretend that skill's not there. Okay, it's not really adding to anything.
I honestly wish they'd give this skill a skill evolution, or would have just given him another skill entirely.
Yeah, that'd be a good example of a skill that's a modern skill.
Shouldn't be here.
Yeah, it's
I
just,
know it fits with the.
it's for
with
the
theme
lore.
and stuff. It's for the lore, but
The
come
lore.
on, come on,
It's in the
this
name.
shouldn't be.
Yeah, well,
It's better than spiritual dog warrior.
just by a bit. Just
I don't
they're
know. I
both
don't know.
pretty
I don't know if that's much better.
Well,
It's
not
not
on
even
a blow
guaranteed
unit.
TP drop.
Yeah. Well, that's high enough. It's better than, what was it, like 18%
Not even
blessing
Sur-
allies
not-
beside you.
Not even Surtur has fucking giants.
He's like the quintessential giant. Anyway, I think we have. Do we have any remaining thoughts for Balor? I guess because like I don't know, we kind of talked about his entire meme, and honestly, outside of his meme, he doesn't do much. Just like most of the units in his banner.
I think he's decent enough. Shame his paralysis sucks so much at level 3 or 3-star. It's only 50%.
Yeah, you're not gonna be relying on the force skill.
Are very lower.
I feel like they just make 3 stars because they have to, and in reality, they don't want that. They don't actually want them to be useful. They're just
Feel
like,
targeted.
hey, I mean, you got a few units. You got Daikoku 3. That's a pretty fucking generous 3-star.
Yeah.
At least they didn't lower the COS weapon change buff proc rates for the 3.
I don't
Wow.
think they needed to reduce it anymore.
How much lower could it go?
It's probably the lowest. I don't think there's any skill that has a lower base rate than 5%, so that's probably their standard for how low they'll ever go.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
It's a dumb meme, but whatever. If you don't like buff stacking, but you still want to do unga bunga damage, then technically this isn't a buff stacking unit. He just does big damage.
Yeah, but he
did
benefits
big
from
damage.
buff stacking a lot more.
Yeah, I guess like whatever.
But you
5%.
can do buff stacking, but with defensive buffs, I guess.
Wasn't this supposed to be the fucking anti-meta banner, and then we're still doing buff stacking in the end? But for both Teda and Teda and Balor.
I guess.
Why LifeWonders? Why really makes your life wonder. Okay, I think we're in a good stopping point. Any remarks about the banner as a whole in terms of its playability?
Are we supposed to read comments?
Oh, right. Sure. I mean, you go ahead. I think it's Erbie's turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who has the most buffs to help him?
Leonan.
We already talked about that.
Oh man.
Gotta get that buff for that extra 10%. Yes, pretty much. There's a ton of gimmicky units in this banner.
Yeah, that's the
The
name.
entire banner is a gimmick unit.
Daikoku is
Balor.
pretty much the straightest one.
Yeah.
It's the easiest one to understand.
I sort of wanted a 5-star snow that didn't need to move for a long time, but I'm actually pretty disappointed by Daikoku for the other reasons. Infernal on none, really? And like other nun units are a lot more decisive than Daikoku, I guess. I mean, I haven't played with Daikoku. Apparently, Erbie thinks he's nice, but you know what I mean. He's not like mind-blowingly none.
I think he's going to be amazing for challenge quests at least, but he's not gonna be great for casual content and farming and stuff like that.
Yeah, for the buff steal, but yeah.
So you mean 90% of the game?
Yes.
But we don't care about 90%
Pretty
of the
much.
game.
We don't care about 90% of the game, but you can just
bring us the challenge quest.
Temujin and Ada.
Yeah, when Ibaraki is still meta for some reason in regular quests. Yeah, nothing.
or regular Tetsuya, but who cares?
Man, I really want the TQ archive.
Bro, Balor and Shino team meme hyper evil. Well, I guess so. Yeah, you can pair him with Shino.
Yes, because Balor's the only
Yeah.
one who actually reliably, well,
Yeah.
semi-reliably inflicts countdown on like Kuchi with 10%.
Oh
You can-
yeah,
you
I
can
forgot.
put
Yeah,
Shino
it's
in front of.
God, I forgot
you
to
can
mention
put
that.
Shino in front of Balor, so
Yeah, I'm just
he
gonna.
will just simply countdown and deal the crit damage.
Sorry, I actually did write down so many notes about who goes to, and I didn't mention it for any of these units. But yeah, Shino is one of them because, she's actually the most reliable countdown inflictor now in this game, for regular cases. Countdown at 40% is still pretty shit, but it's not fucking 10%. and hey, it's
30% better.
it builds
Yeah.
up. It's like every little bit counts. That's more than twice as much at the rate. But yeah,
Alright.
Shino would be pretty good, I guess. So,
CS.
yeah, in terms
You
of
want me to keep?
Oh, sorry.
reading the comment?
Oh yeah, I thought there was more. I thought it was that. Okay, good.
Oh no. Someone said CS weapon change 1 turn duration though.
Yeah.
Can't kill though.
It can't kill.
What do you mean can't kill?
Oh,
It
countdown.
can't kill.
The,
Oh,
the countdown damage will never kill.
We're more focused on the countdown bonus, the countdown advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you want
the
you want the
countdown
6 times damage.
Yeah, when I provided the numbers, I was excluding the damage done by the countdown debuff itself.
Yeah.
I wasn't even considering it either because he's just
They'll all
gonna
be dead anyway.
wipe them. Yeah, they're gonna die before the countdown damage even comes into play.
Yeah, for like if you guys have a don't really have a reference, I guess the reference for damage that's decent. Like I guess it's like anything under 10k is like middling. Usually 7k is what you get when you don't, like have old 5 stars or whatever. But like it's like from 10 to 20k is when you can consider like pretty like okay damage, and it's usually lethal enough to clear like the dailies as well as the regular mobs. Anything above 20k is when you can say it's definitely really good.
Balor easily breaks that on his own.
Yeah. He I already said his was he doing what damage is? I already said it, but I forgot.
So like 24k.
Yeah, 24k. That's already definitely more than enough for most cases.
If you pair him with Leonan, 200 almost 200k is you'll just wipe everything.
Yeah. So basically, you don't need to bring Balor with anyone in terms of damage stacking, but yeah, apparently you still need to do buff stacking because just trigger that.
10%.
Yeah,
it's a 10%.
Anyway, we want Balor to does at this point, and so overall,
Duo me.
banner, I would say personally this is a skip banner for me, to be honest.
Honestly, if not for Leonine, I'd say this banner is better than the other one.
Yeah, Leonan is.
Lianan is like if it was just a character feature, like if it was a Lianan like character feature banner, that would still be better than most banners combined.
Lianan date quest.
If only.
But
It's just...
basically, I think that the units here are definitely better than the other one, excluding Leonan.
Yeah, I think I pretty much want all of them except no. They're all pretty good. The 2 5 stars are quite good. Bael can smack a lot of debuffs, a bit of support. Daikoku's strong support, both offensive and defensive. And then Teda's niche, Balor is... I don't know if I'd call him niche. I don't know how niche screen wiping is.
He plays by a meme, but his actual utility isn't niche.
Yeah,
I think his debuff's a better utility. But yeah, I think this banner's fairly good overall. But nothing to chase the high tiers for unless you really need them.
Yeah, that's a good summary. I would just say my thoughts. The character designs aren't really something into me. That's my personal opinion. But also the kits themselves are like, I really was hoping for something meta changing. This is not it.
at least they're trying.
I mean, yeah, they're trying.
I like their kits because this year they seem to be focusing on kits that they're trying to balance kits by having detrimental effects applied to their own units, while also giving them a lot of more positive effects as well. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, basically more self-debuff situation and all that.
Yes. For instance, we had Heracles, that
who is the strongest unit in terms of individual buffs, but just never touch him.
They're trying to do that, but they failed, and they released Leonan. So okay.
I feel like their way of balancing the game now is just making all units game breaking now in terms of meeting this meta. So making it regular and not locked behind specific units. Just basically making all range spam more common and shit like that. Because this even though Bael exists, come on, we now have 2 more all range spammers. It's Jesus Christ.
Leonan's what would it be disadvantage is not nearly high enough for the beneficial rivals. Like a few hundred.
It's not even a disadvantage. You can say it's just synergistic with Limit.
Limit, yeah. So why does she apply she should have applied a debuff on her person in front.
I think potentially should have inflicted some debuff on herself. to kind of balance it a bit. Like,
You know,
for instance,
why
suppression
does
stuff.
why doesn't she like drain the person in front of her or something? That would work with the law. It's just-
Yeah, that'd be cool too. I
Guys,
guess. It would
guys,
reduce
stop!
their tra-
I pulled her. Don't ruin her for me. I spent my last multi on her, and I got her. All right, she's gonna be beautiful, and I'm gonna be breaking the game and removing any amount of thought to playing it.
You already break the game.
I do, but I gotta break
You
it more.
don't-
Mind break it.
But the but yeah, but even then you'd have synergy with on debuff units. So
I think it should have
that'd be
been.
cool too.
I think it should have been cool if she would apply impression to self to stop her from moving.
Stop
for
spamming
what
it.
Yeah, so you can stop spamming it.
Is-
It would also,
They're gonna
would
just
also
like.
stop her variability. It would have been a good way to balance her kit. But
I feel like at this point, like they're really just doubling down on. Even though they said they were going to change the meta, they're really doubling down on just giving everyone more buffs and making it more accessible. So at this point, I'm just hoping they do a better job of countering the meta.
Bael's not strong enough. Bael's not strong enough to counter it on his own.
Yeah, he's not. Bael needs a team. So it's a skip. Unless I don't know, you like memes because this is a meme banner to be honest. But in the very
Go for
least,
some of the 3 stars at least if you
if you like
want
Zalgus.
useful units. Yeah, if you like me. Well, you can use them.
but this banner is
Normally.
basically it's
think-
it's perfunctory. It just makes all range memes along with part 1 a lot more common and a lot more accessible.
Go pull on the enhanced plan instead. Oh wait, is that still up?
It's not. It's gone with the wind. Sorry.
I'll wait for anniversary then.
you can just wait for anniversary, or they'll just reprint New Semester 1 after the great success Leonard had
Oh,
in the next month.
oh well.
Okay, I think we have reached around to our topic points. Any remaining thoughts? If not, then I will read the comments and then I will close this discussion. Any thoughts, you guys?
Any thoughts? Not really. Pretty much said everything.
All right.
Yeah. something in my
I don't have
notes.
a lot of thoughts.
All right. Yeah, this banner is pretty brainless. Or it makes you go
I mean,
galaxy brain anyways.
It's whatever.
Anyways, I'll just read out the comments and then I'll close this discussion.
Sure.
How would I try to change the meta? Gawi is asking. I would say, well, one idea that was being thrown around was, Erbie was insisting. I'm not sure if he was being serious or not on all range resistance.
I was being serious.
No.
Add higher resistance to all range damage, like Thor has on the dungeon, but except higher. I think it should be something common for challenge quests. For
Yeah.
at least the boss units, they should have it at least. The fucking big boss units like Echo or Aizen or those units in those phases at the very least. That would be a start to balance it.
Maybe a special evasion, or special defensive buffs that can't be pierced.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
Katara just does not care about evasion, so that doesn't work.
Yeah, I was thinking more defensive buffs would be nice, and also I don't know why the majority of offensive buffs are all several turns long, whereas the majority of defense buffs are all 1 turn long. It's it kind of makes a defense stacking even on the enemy side not that useful. It's
Too bad Daikoku purges up to 9 buffs now from a giant enemy though, so
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't
Unless
matter.
They can just make a buff that can't be stolen, like they did with the
Attack reduction. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
it's just a status, not a buff or a debuff.
make
It's
them get defense when attacked. So
Or-
well, there are things they could do to make CQs not a joke, but
yeah,
they don't seem to be trying.
other ideas I thought about were just have more when appearing debuffs against the ally as well as buffs for the ally side, because just too much things that only be going on phase start for some stupid reason. Stuff like massive CPU reduction, that was always nice to have, for example in the Alberich challenge quest. I believe he just drained all your CP when he appeared.
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So
he
that
did
prevented
all
cheats with
the
that.
PN buffs, everything.
Yeah, so stuff like that, and also remove all buffs from the enemy side as well.
Stuff
Stuff like
stop you from screen wiping.
And lastly, one thing that I was thinking of was just changing the framework of like which units you can take from the beginning, sort of like a restriction system.
Yeah, I think that'd be neat.
Yeah, I feel like that's more
Like,
useful.
only
like
from
making,
this guild, or only this type. Like they were doing at Halloween last year.
or not all rangers. Just like that.
I honestly think it would be important to at least they have that all range resistance to at least incentivize people to use lower ranged units, which they haven't been doing a good job at.
Yeah, they have not.
And they were incentivizing the use of non-range units, if that's what you're asking. Anyway,
They're incentivized.
is that exactly
encouraging? Encouraging using screen wipers, like with the stupid Valentine's mission. Like, how are you supposed to defeat Nomad's phase without just deleting everything at once? Because everyone's moving about randomly.
It's almost it's very hard to fucking one shot the Nomad to stop all the random movements. So
yeah, unless you do it right at the start. So
yeah.
You can't keep units from quests based on their weapon types. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Let's do
We
it.
did that last year in Halloween.
Yeah, I want more penalty systems like in Halloween, and just like restriction systems in general, because restriction makes you actually use units you would never use. Instead of building the optimal team, you're forced to build any team every single time.
That's one of the reasons why I like the personal challenges I do, because I would have never used Nobuharu when I have all these other strong, much more reliable buffers at my disposal.
Yeah, and I also stuff like even the drop quests are pretty fun for at least the first few rounds, because you're forced to use rate boosters instead of whatever is the most optimal, and the rate boosters themselves are a limited selection. So in which case I appreciate it. But at the same time, you just end up picking the best drop boosters. But you get the idea. It's some more restriction than having no restriction at all.
Something they could also do is like make a challenge quest where you're supposed to kill units in every order, just like the Kanan one, where if you try to board to clear the whole board, only one unit will die.
Oh, the stupid tribesmen.
I'll get a bit of buff. Yes, exactly. They could do more like that, but do something slightly different, which is no. Instead of the units dying, you're supposed to kill them in a certain order. If you don't, you get a bunch of debuffs on yourself then, and also get your CP drained.
Yeah, those have like very specific
When
there were actually a lot of I think I definitely gave a list before of like particular phases and challenge quests that actually did punish all range units, and I would like
Christmas one.
Christmas. There's the freaking.
It was the Takamaru phase where if you're supposed to kill the devils behind him, and if you hit him, he turns into a wide slash or something and destroys you.
I was actually thinking of the Tante phase, because I actually just used Kotaro, and whoever's in front, I just used evasion to protect.
He was always long slash, but he would charge himself.
But yeah, the last phase was an example of where he didn't want all range. He actually did want to delete them one by one with Tante versus.
Oh right, yeah.
And then there was also the canon quest, that one phase with the tribesmen, which just revived everyone. That's something you can't counter when they do.
Yeah.
So more.
You can't just use.
That's more when leading stuff. Yeah. Well,
I hope they do that again. Honestly,
that's annoying. I mean, he could do something like what Barrison did with like all range Tanko, but that was pretty hard to time. And even then, he couldn't kill everyone at the same time because he like hit other units by accident or something.
Yeah, and then the third phase was not the third phase. I think it was the fourth phase.
What, Kanan?
And
Kanan only has 3 phases.
It only had 3. It was the third phase.
It was third phase with Dagon and Astaroth
that could have also been pretty annoying if you weren't prepared for it.
Yes.
So I think
I was very prepared.
All the phases there were pretty good.
Yeah, I think they were
annoying but good.
I never did get a chance to use Makan 4 because his CS inflicts bind at all range. I was thinking of comboing him on phase 2 because they're vulnerable to bind.
Yeah, they were only like
okay.
plants and stuff like that.
Alright, anyway, we're getting off track. So basically there are ways to make counters against all range meta.
So you want more Valiant units?
I didn't say that, but actually I do want okay. Oh, they said something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to. I'm not sure what that was, but that's weird. You guys, sound is fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Erbie's mic.
Erbie? Oh my god. Did Erbie just die?
I
Anyway.
think his mic blew out or something.
Well, we are approaching the end. I'm gonna add him in Discord. At Erbie, hop in as ESAP. But for now, I'm just gonna read the rest of the comments quickly because like we're extending this ending soon. Oh, holy shit! It's like an hour and 40 minutes. Like, oh, you're back. Your mic's on.
Yeah, it's fine now.
Okay, good. So, yeah, I'm just gonna read out the rest of the comments.
These Valiant units are decent. They're not that bad.
Yeah, Teda and what's his face, Balor. They're okay.
They're pretty good, I think.
I think they're good in spite of their element, though.
Okay, guys, sorry, but I'm gonna ask you to shut up because I need to read these comments. Okay. Wait, no, we're not gonna just unnecessarily extend this. I'm gonna have to cut it short eventually. Let's see. Get the duelist call away from me. No,
Schedule.
yeah. Powerful units that can do the meta right now. Powerful units that can do anything, but at the cost of part of your team self apparently, because lore is something. Well, it's we've been talking all this time about how to change the meta, so I'll just skip that. Though key waiting for enemies outside of CPU is actually getting challenging. I mean, there haven't sort of.
People say the story quests have been annoying.
I mean, the only reason they are, but the thing is that they're not after because they're grindables, right? Eventually, you figure out a team that works, and you just use the same team over and over again. But
I think people are just bad.
Yeah, I think that's the case too.
Well, I haven't tried the chapter 10 ones, but it's like, you know, the first time there's always a bit of tinkering around. And it's for some people, they just never want to tinker around, so they'll always have a hard time. But, you know, if you do bother tinkering around with it, then eventually you'll just stick with a team that will always work. And that's how grind quests can be considered as things that aren't difficult. Because, like, the difficulty only lasts for, like, one game out of, like, the 100 games you play against it. Okay, that's called racism error. I already commented on that. It's not racism, but it is ism of some kind. Non-range banned from CQ. Error. Shut the fuck up, loser. Right. Or better, only blow and slash are out. That'd be nice. Too bad the current blow and slashing units still aren't very good. They're much better than before, but
Yeah, I could make a team like that.
like there's
Just use
Dagon. I know you want
double
to.
Dagon.
I know you're gonna say. Shut up. You think I don't have you figured out? Okay. Oh, even
Just
losers
use
think just use Dagon. Let's see. Or bark, I guess, if you want to hang and capture yourself. Rude. Imagine having 5-star Dagon. I have Erbies, so I'm good.
I have one on my phone.
Oh, yeah, it's, just have Erbies and you'll be good. So you want more Valiant units? I kind of do, but more importantly, I want more units that are better, that you know, are weak against Valiant units. So like more Nether and Ether types and more
We
Yeah,
did
Shadow.
get two new Infernal units, so maybe we'll start seeing more Infernal units and Aether and Nether.
But yeah, for sure, this banner definitely makes a decent case for Valiant units, because one of the issues I had with Valiant units wasn't specifically the fact that they're Valiant, but because they're tied with, you know, kits that weren't particularly amazing or focused. This one, there are two Valiant units that have very strong focus, both Teda and Balor finally being the first Valiant units actually having all range charge, and they're both pretty good with it too, like lethally. Let's see, that's JK different. Good job, Erbie, feeding report. Shut up with your just shut up with your leak beams. Anyways, Kaya says, "Hey, okay, make sure you subscribe to this guy. He makes good content too. That is sometimes about like watching, recording his mom's reactions to Housamos. Whoops, I got busy and couldn't tune in time. Have you guys talked about how Horus is the best unit game? Yeah, we did last week.
Yeah, that was last week.
It was last week.
I don't believe in him.
Was it last week? It was 2 weeks ago. No.
Oh yeah, no, it was. Was it? Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh my
we canceled this one because.
Yeah, it is 2 weeks ago. I'm just looking at the
2
dates
weeks.
now.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. It felt, I guess I'm just an old fogey now, losing my sense of time. Anyways, too many 5 stars. Fire. I mean, there's none in this banner. Last banner is just like Kasuga. It's like it was okay.
There still is too many 5-star fires though.
More
How many did I
Nether.
say last week? 14.
I think add more Nether 5s, please.
Yeah,
and
like
Aether too.
I don't understand. It's like there's 3 attributes, fire, water, wood, and each of them individually has a lot more than individually ether and nether. And you think,
Yes.
and that's part of the reason why it skews Valiant in disfavor. I want that balance to be made up so that East and Nether individually have more than fire, water, and wood.
I don't know if you want to watch an hour-long VOD or 2-hour-long VOD of us dithering.
Maybe not. Thank you. I will watch the VOD after the stream. All right. I mean, we do provide peaceful analysis, especially
Do we?
yeah, especially both of these two, because I just talk out my ass sometimes. Kasuga is good. Arison speaks lies. My content is just okay, but it doesn't include iPhone. All right. And with that, the stream for the discussion has concluded.
Be sure to stick around and watch Aaron's dungeon stream.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be fucking leveling Leanne, and finally, and then after that, I'm gonna test her out in the Jean dungeon. Gonna run a nice double tower setup. If I don't screw up the dungeons, anyways.
Janu.
Anyways, please subscribe to Erbie's channel. It's linked in the description as usual.
Don't subscribe to me.
You can't. They wouldn't be able to, even if they wanted to. Like,
Well, I mean,
make your
they
videos.
they could subscribe,
can.
but they won't see anything.
Just do it because like Zalgus is being Sundari. He actually does like run his subscribe account.
Huh? I don't care about my subscribe account.
Subscribe for the novelty of it.
Yeah,
I care slightly about my views, but I also have them unlisted, so...
Alright, well, if you want to see his videos, he just go to the Discord server because like there's no other way to see them. And if you want to see Erbie's videos, he uploads most of them, except for like the really meaty ones that Healing lists those. But yeah, they both make fantastic content, and without these two, I would never have reached this point. It was my own level of seriousness. It was my own analysis. So thank you for joining me, Erbie.
All right. Thanks for having me. I had a really fun analysis time because I did learn what Bael could do because I had almost no notes prepared for him at all. So I was just talking out of my ass all this time.
I mean,
in regards to Bael.
you got lucky that Bael is simple to understand.
Yeah, he's not too hard to understand.
Simple 5 stars, like big brain, galaxy brain 4 stars. And Zalgus, thank you for joining.
Okay. You're welcome.
Bruh.
That's all I have to say.
At least Erbie said to me. Alright, and please come visit us for... We'll probably have another analysis either next weekend or if shit goes down the weekend after for skill evolution analysis. You guys will try to
We'll
make
talk
it.
about how 5 stars aren't troll polls anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, thanks for joining. I'll just read the last comments right now, super quickly without commenting. I watched 10 minutes, staying in Flames Light. Just subscribe to your channel. I was for banging parents bangers. Great stream era. Losers, thanks for joining. Puggers, dude, one. Leave, shut up. Okay. I'm enjoying for the next stream too, Ira. Thanks, Gowie. Good stream, nice stream all. And that concludes everything. I'll see you two back at the servers later. See ya, Erbie. This is August.
Bye.
Till next time. And all you guys still sticking around, please stick around for the dungeoning stream if you're still interested in that. Love y'all. See you in a bit.